Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well on this Saturday morning, of course, guys. Before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video, all that jazz. That'd be absolutely fantastic if you guys can do that for me, of course. I hope you're having a splendid day so far, wherever you are in the world, guys. Now, let's get into a little bit of Manchester United news, of course, guys. Away from the managerial situation, of course, it is still the January transfer window and Man United still need players, regardless who the manager is. We still need players, regardless of the formation. We still need players, guys. Man United are desperate for players at the moment. Thankfully, there was a little bit of a saving grace yesterday. Commiserations to Cameroon, of course, but obviously Mbeumo will be coming back to Manchester United and he will be ready for the Manchester derby next week, guys, which is, of course, good news, guys. It is good news. I would have preferred Mbeumo to come back rather than Mazza. No offense to Mazza, but I think we're a little bit covered in the defensive areas. But Mbeumo coming back next week for the Manchester derby, we are a little bit lightweight in regards to the attack, you know, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And obviously, we'll be looking at Ivory Coast tonight. We'll be looking at Ahmad. Maybe Ahmad can come back. That would be great as well, guys. Of course, it would be. But let's get into some transfer news surrounding Manchester United. Of course, a few of the community and many people around has been speaking about a gentleman named Matheus Mane. Matheus Mane is a Wolverhampton Wanderers player, currently playing as for the under-18s as well. England under-18s. He's a centre-forward, attacking midfielder, and a right winger. Now, he has recently burst onto the scene and he's caught the attention of Manchester United. Now, he's only valued about 250,000, so he's still got a youth contract, basically, so that Man United could quite possibly pick this player up for literally nothing as it stands. Now, Manchester United are looking to do a move for Matheus Mane this month in January, of course, guys. So what does that represent? For me, he's a very, very talented individual, a player that's going to be a superstar probably in the future. We hope so. He will be a superstar in the future. Matheus Mane is a young player, again, you know, and will it improve Man United right now? Will it help Man United right now? Maybe in the future it might. Maybe he might come into Man United right now and he might set the world on fire. You never know. It might be a Wayne Rooney moment. It's been a while since we had one of those, isn't it? A Wayne Rooney sort of thing. So Matheus Mane, of course, is a very talented player playing for Wolves, England under-18 international. Look, you know, I understand that what they're doing, what the board are doing. They want to bring in these type of players, Matheus Mane, the young players. That's great. You can bring in these type of players. By all means, bring in these type of players. But that's not to say that you neglect experience as well, because that's what Man United need as well. Man United need experience as well. And we can't just be signing a bunch of youngsters and, you know what, expect results, because that's not what's going to happen. As we know, Ruben Amorim was thrown under the bus, you know, and we're still looking at what's the cheapest thing to do. How are we gonna you know, get the spend less? And that's what I don't like about this new Man United regime is spend less. You can get your young players in, by all means, do that. We always used to do that. But you've got to get the experience as well. And you've got to get the star names as well. You can't just get young players and expect it to work. Click your fingers and it's going to work. However, Matheus Mane is a very talented 18-year-old, very, very talented player. And Man United are interested in him and could make a move this window. So let's wait and see. And let's play that one by ear. Now, another player, of course, which has been mentioned many times on the stream and many times on Stretford Post and indeed on other outlets as well, is Mitoma. Mitoma is a winger currently playing for Brighton, of course, Japanese international, 29 caps for Japan, 8 goals. He is a left winger, left midfielder for 28 years old. He's valued at around 30 million. Apparently, Man United could make a move for Mitoma within the next couple of weeks because obviously his price isn't as steep as other experienced players, if you know what I mean. Now, what do I make of this? Now, look, guys, I don't think Man United need an attacking player. I've said it again and again and again. Right now we got Mbeumo back. I don't think Man United need an attacking player. Man United need a midfielder, 2 midfielders if we're lucky. Man United need midfielders. I don't know how. I don't know whether I have to draw them a picture. I don't know what I have to do because we've been banging on about this for years, guys. This midfield situation that we don't seem to address. We never seem to address the midfield situation. That's disappointing because every single time a new manager comes in with Bagel FC, we've been known as Bagel FC for so long now. You know what I mean? Probably as long as Man United. And it's ridiculous. And we need to address this and we need to fix this midfield before we thinking about bringing more attacking players in. Football's not just about attack, Football is also about preserving and defending and being strong and being resolute and being hard to beat. It's also about that as well and not giving spaces to the opposition in the midfield. The midfield is so important. It's the engine of the team. And you know what? We're talking about players like Mitoma. Mitoma's just a left winger, attacking winger. Now, we're looking at, obviously, we're not going to be playing the left wing back thing anymore. So we're going to be probably playing a 4-2-3-1 going forward. So we don't need to worry about, playing a left wing back, right? So that's one thing which is a kind of a plus in one way because we don't need to sign a specific player in that position. We got 3 attacking players. We got the Brunos, we got Mbremo, we got Cunha there, we got Xerxes still here, of course, guys. We got players there who could play there. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying. And I don't think Man United need to waste their money or waste their time pursuing players like Mitoma. I don't. And there is links around Mitoma. I know he's only 30 million. I know he's a good player. I'm not saying that. He's a good player. I just don't think Man United should be going after that type of player at the moment. However, I would like Man United to sign a midfielder. That would be absolutely fantastic. I would, on the flip side, say that. I think Man United need to concentrate primarily, put their eggs in the midfield basket, guys. That's what Manchester United need to do, and that's what we need to do going forward. Of course we do, because at the end of the day, if we don't get a midfielder, we're just going to be in the same position. You know what I mean? Because the midfield is the engine, it's the strength of the team, it's the spine, it's part of the spine. And as I said a few weeks ago, Man United need to build a spine. They need to build a spine, like the striker, the midfielder, and the defender, like one spine and the goalkeeper. Now, guys, I hope we do. I hope we do. Look, they've got a lot of proving to do. There's a lot of anger around the Man United fan base. I was very angry this week about what happened and what's going on around the football club. I'm very disillusioned. I'm very upset. I'm not really happy about the way the football club. I don't know what direction they're going in. I don't trust the board. There's many things that I feel at the moment, and I think the fan base is an absolute sham. I think there's a lot of people with little low ball IQ with big numbers on their platforms that speak a lot of garbage. And I think we're in this repetitive cycle at the moment, and it's going to take a miracle to get out of this. We were trying to, but obviously people don't have the patience to do that. They don't have the patience to pull through with a plan. They don't, and even the board. And to be honest with you, things were changing, but people didn't have the patience for it to change. And obviously here we are. In regards to Manchester United and this transfer window, of course, there is a part of me that feels like this sacking business was very convenient for them. I feel like it would take away the attention away from the transfer window, but I am not taking away the attention from Ineos and the Glazers. I will always say, well, where's the transfers then? You got, all right, yeah, I don't care. You sacked the manager. Good. Where's the transfers? You know what I mean? I'm like that at the end of the day. So we still need to sign players, regardless who the manager is. We spent 27 million on sacking Ruben Amorim. We could have got Ruben Neves. We could have got Conor Gallagher for that. Now, it looks like Conor Gallagher is going to be going to Aston Villa. That's one thing there. You know what I mean? Another one bites the dust, so to speak. But there are other players out there. There's loads of players out there. Keith Schmidt could have been signed for 27 million. Do you know what I mean? This is what we're talking about, guys. This is exactly the vibes we're talking about. Keith Schmidt could have been signed for 27 million. Ruben Neves could have been signed for 27 million. And that would have helped immensely, of course, guys. We have shot ourselves in the foot. Sacking Ruben Amorim was the wrong decision. It was. And it will be proven, I will be proven right, and many of the community and many people around the Manchester United fan base will be proven right again, just like we were right about Erik ten Hag at the time when we said it wouldn't change anything until the board and Ineos are out the door, right? Now, look, we have to move on, of course. Every day is a new opportunity, and Man United will never die as a football club, and we need to move on to the game tomorrow. Brighton and Hove Albion is the game, of course. Speaking of Brighton today, Brighton Hove Albion, of course, we've got Brighton tomorrow, and it's a must-win game. There's no doubt about it. We have to do well in the FA Cup. That is so important. Doing well in the FA Cup is very important, and if we don't qualify for Europe, FA Cup is always going to be a rope to fall on in regards to that, if we can win the FA Cup. And I'm not saying we're going to win the FA Cup, because it's very difficult to win the FA Cup. You need all sorts of things, nooks and crannies to go your way. Especially the draw, of course, you know what I mean? If we're drawing away, we did well last season in the obviously beating Arsenal in away from home, and obviously beating Arsenal away from home, then losing the next game easily. You know what I mean? It just makes you laugh. But you know what I would say is that, yeah, FA Cup, extremely important. It's FA Cup weekend. Always a special moment, the third round of the FA Cup. Of course, a magic moment for Wrexham yesterday, guys, against Nottingham Forest, of course, and they're doing incredibly well with their owner. Guys, I wouldn't mind Ryan Reynolds at Man United. Would you? I like that guy. He's a proper owner, isn't he? He's a proper owner of a football club, Ryan Reynolds. I don't care if he's an actor. I don't care. He gets it. He gets it, man. He's on the side of the pitch, slapping hands with the players, hugging the players. That is what you want, man. That gives you that little 10% extra, doesn't it, guys? That's what we want. Not Jim Ratcliffe with his little blanket sitting in the stands. Oh, yeah, where's my cocoa? You know what I mean? We don't want none of that. This absolute, my goodness me. Absolute. We got the word. We've been dealt some terrible cards, guys. A terrible hand, guys. Absolutely. It is ridiculous. But what I would say is that, look, FA Cup day tomorrow, massive game, Old Trafford. Darren Fletcher, first game at Old Trafford. Must win, no excuses. Again, Ruben Amorim beat Brighton and over at Old Trafford, of course. So obviously, I'm not going to paint everything with the same brush. Every single game is different. But look, you know what? We deal with dictatorships here. So I want a victory tomorrow, and nothing less, nothing more, nothing less. Whatever we win on penalties, whatever we win the game, that's the most important thing. Going to the next round, that's the most important thing for me. And we bring on Manchester City next week, and obviously Arsenal the week after, of course, guys. So lots of things to go on at Man United, and lots of proving to do, of course. And there's going to be lots of disgruntlement and arguments within the fan base, as we always have, of course, guys, every single day. There's always big mouths there. Big mouths, little brains. Equates to nothing, though, doesn't it, guys? Absolutely. Now, a little bit of news about Cole Palmer. Now, as we know, Cole Palmer used to play for Manchester City, but Cole Palmer is actually a Manchester United fan. Believe it or not, he's actually a Manchester United fan. Now, the 23-year-old, 12 caps for England, 2 goals, is one of the best players in the world, or when he's on form. When he's on form, of course, guys. Manchester United have inquired about the possibility of bringing Cole Palmer in the summer. Now, obviously, Cole Palmer is valued at around 120 million, right? So, look, part of me thinks, oh, right, great, that's brilliant. Let's get Cole Palmer in there. Let's do that. Yeah, great. Another part of me thinks, yeah, right, of course, yeah, we're going to get Cole Palmer. Okay, yeah, but we don't need that type of player. I mean, I'm not saying that we don't sign players like Cole Palmer. No, what I'm saying is that Man United, again, I sound like a broken record, need to fix that midfield before they do anything. Now, Man United are linked to Cole Palmer. Now, this obviously puts into question the mentality of Ineos, right? And the way they're thinking about football. They're thinking about football on a very immature, dumbed down level. Now, they're thinking more on attack, right? More than actually building a team and balance of the team. And it does make you think that, do they actually know what they're doing? Have they got a clue what they're doing? We got Jason Wilcox. I mean, Jason Wilcox, unproven. He's not been a manager. He's been a player, no doubt. He's been a player and a successful one. Played for England, played for Blackburn, of course, and Leeds United. But in regards to management and scouting and picking players, I don't think he's that good. I really don't. I think I could get more players than him. I'll find more players for Man United than him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that can fit the bill. Like I've seen a few already in the AFCON, and at the end of the day. And Liverpool have gone out and signed a couple. This is what we're talking about. You know what I mean? We're just sleeping and snoozing and losing. And you know what? It's not good enough, guys. It really isn't. But one player to keep an eye on, guys, is Matthias Mane. That is the player to keep an eye on. Man United will make a move for Matthias Mane, the 18-year-old England under 18 centre-forward attacking midfielder, right winger for Wolverhampton Wanderers. So he could be on the way to Manchester United. This player, very talented player, but again, very raw. Again, very raw. And Man United do need proven players, of course. That's what we need. Of course, guys, absolutely. I will be doing a watch-along for Ivory Coast tonight, of course, against Egypt. I would love Egypt to win, not because I don't like Ivory Coast. It's because I want Ahmed to come home. And I want a squad for the game against, of course, Manchester City next week. We're going to need all the players that we could possibly get. Luckily enough, we got Cunha, we got Mbeumo, we got Fernandes. I would actually like Fernandes to stay in the number 10. I would like that. Hopefully, Fletcher doesn't fall for the trick and move Bruno Fernandes into the midfield position. Hopefully, he stays at number 10. And hopefully, we can have, a balanced midfield going into the game against Manchester City. It's going to be very interesting to see what players play. We got Shea Lacey as well. We had an impressive cameo, of course, the other night against Burnley. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of team he picks. JJ Gabriel is a name that might be on the bench. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. JJ Gabriel at making his debut. I actually think he will make his debut. I don't think he'll start. I think he will be on the bench, and I think he'll make his debut, depending how the game goes. I do actually think that the game will be a difficult game. I think it will probably go all the way. I just got this feeling about it. I've got this feeling about extra time and penalties and things like that. I've got this weird feeling about it, and hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't go to extra time, because I've got a couple of watch-alongs to do tomorrow, including the AFCON, of course, guys, as well. So. What I would say is that, I'm actually doing Inter Milan Napoli tomorrow. Excuse me. I'm doing that. So obviously we got Brighton and obviously Man United tomorrow. So that we're looking forward to that, and we're running down to that. Of course, we're counting down the hours to that game, of course. Now, look, what do I think about the game? I will be doing my match preview, guys. Don't worry about that. I will be doing my match preview. Hopefully today, this afternoon, I will be doing a match preview. I'll be picking my lineup. I'll be giving my predictions and stuff like that, etc. But you know what? One thing about life, guys, whether you like it or not, we have to move on in life. And you know what? What I would say is that time is an education. Time is an education, and eventually people will get educated about this whole situation, what's been happening this season. Unfortunately, there are some people who never learn their lesson. There's people out there who never listen, who don't want to listen because it doesn't fit their narrative and their ego and their narcissism. Of course, guys. So we just have to ignore those folk, and we have to get on, and hopefully Man United become a successful football team. And that is what is most important. Ultimately, if we don't become a successful football team, and then we know what's going on, isn't it? At the end of the day, it was a mistake and blah, blah, blah. I don't think Man United will win a league in the near future. I did believe we'll win a league under Ruben Amorim. I did. I actually felt that we'll win a league under Ruben Amorim eventually. I don't think we're going to win the league now. And that's how I feel. Having watched football a very long time, having studied football, having worked in football, from League One to working over in Abu Dhabi, working in football and stuff like that. I actually believe we would have won a league probably next year in a couple of years. And but now I can't see it happening now in the near future, because I actually believe we've gone back to 2018. And it did, and it didn't work in 2018. Why is it going to work now? I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? I really don't. It's insanity to the highest order. Of course, there's lots of talk about ex-pros, obviously Darren Fletcher, obviously Michael Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It doesn't really matter, guys, because none of those managers are good enough for Manchester United. They're not. Just like Raul, just like Morientes, just like Roberto Carlos, just like Herrero are not good enough for Real Madrid, management-wise. These guys are not good enough for Man United. Do you think Real Madrid will go out there and say, Raul from the reserves, the youth team, let's get Raul in there? Of course not. You know what I mean? Of course not. They're not going to do that, are they? Because they know that manager's not good enough. Vibes can only get you so far. Vibes only get you so far. They only get you to a point. Like I said, Red Bull FC, that's what it is. Red Bull FC. You get that boost and then you drop very, very fast. And that's what it is at the end of the day, guys. Absolutely. Well, we got Pavel. He likes the Red Bull group, don't we? So we probably are Red Bull FC at the end of the day. We are probably looking for a Red Bull bounce. But yeah, look, guys, probably have Red Bull written on our shirt very soon, guys. Don't watch this space, So look, I will be supporting the football team through thick and thin, as I always do. I would never wish my team harm or wish my team to lose. No matter who's the manager, I want the football team to win. Sorry. And that's what I am. I'm not like those other folk who, just to fit my narrative, just so I'm proven right, we get the manager out of there. I would like to see, at the end of the day, what made me laugh. I think the overriding thing about this whole last few days, what made me laugh, is because we've been gaslighted about standards for weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months, about these are not Man United standards. This is not Man United DNA. And then we draw against Burnley, and then I can see improvement. I can see that type of play. I can see that type of play. We're playing well. You see, it's already better when it's not. They're just trying to tell themselves that to reassure themselves. That's why they're saying that. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to be made to look like idiots. That's one thing I would say, and that's what it is, and we didn't play better against Burnley. We probably would have beaten Burnley with Amorim, to be fair, guys. We probably would have beaten Amram, with Amram, Burnley with Amram, guys. Absolutely. But guys, I'm interested to know your thoughts. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone is blessed on this, obviously, Saturday morning. I don't know why it feels like a Sunday for me. It does feel like a Sunday. I don't know why. But it is Saturday morning, and we're counting down to the game, of course, tomorrow for Manchester United. I hope you're all doing well, guys. Welcome to the stream. I hope everyone is blessed in the community, and I hope everyone is doing well. Of course, guys, hope everyone is doing good. Absolutely. Big up, Scott. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Big up yourself. Hope everything is blessed. Good morning, Ephraim. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Sanjay. Hope you're good. Good morning. Hello, Dublin Games. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up yourself. Hope you're well. Cameroon were underwhelming. Cameroon were very underwhelming. The one thing I learned about Cameroon yesterday, analysing the game yesterday, is that Cameroon came out very aggressive. Not aggressive on the pitch. That's not a bad thing. When you come out on the pitch and you come out aggressive, they were like arguing with referees, pushing everyone out of the way. Now, there was obviously a very, very interesting point yesterday about the referee, about corruption and things like that. Apparently, there was going to be an Egyptian referee, and Morocco did not want that referee. They did not want that Egyptian referee. And they changed the referee. And I think that is a little bit sus. If you ask me, I think it's a little bit sus. I'm not taking away that Cameroon were awful. They were awful. I've never seen Cameroon play like that all tournament. I've been watching them all tournament. I haven't seen them play like that. And to be honest with you, they deserve to go out. No doubt about it. But obviously, there were some decisions in there, a little bit sus as well. And I was questioning some of them. But yeah, look, they came out the wrong mentality. I think Cameroon came out with a victim mentality and never come out of a football match hard done by mentality. Oh, this is not fair mentality. Just play the game, play your game. And I noticed as well that Cameroon changed their formation. They changed to a 5 and a 3 with a 5, really pragmatic kind of formation, with 2 up front, but with a 5 in mid, with 2 wing backs. It was very weird for me. You know what I mean? It was a little bit different to what Cameroon were playing in the past and in this tournament, of course. Absolutely. Good morning, Saviour. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. We need 2 midfielders, a right wing back. We're not playing wing backs anymore, so there's no point talking about wing backs, Saviour. You mean right back, left back? Morning, Sal. Amazing that the club is feeding a client journalist that they might sign a player just when the protest was announced. Yep, absolutely. It's stuff that we've got to be aware of. Daryl. Morning, Sal, my bro. Big up yourself. You're right. We need midfielders. Only defense and attack are okay at the moment. Now, when Bremer is back, now we don't need the board not to going to do the right thing for the team. Look, at the end of the day, what I would say is that this is they still need to do business because I know what they're trying to do. I ain't got Wolf. Thrown over my eyes. I'm not blind to the fact that we need midfielders. We still need signings. It doesn't matter who the manager is. We still need signings. I don't want to hear any excuses from the board. I'm tired of their dumbass excuses, to be honest with you guys. I really am. And I think we really need to hold them accountable for what they're doing. Now, I saw an Arsenal fan talking on TikTok this last 24 hours, and he was absolutely spot on. You might see, I posted it on my Twitter. He's talking about Man United and the ex-pros and things like that and how disgraceful they are, about how much pressure they put on Ruben Amorim. And it's like a little cult of media that are only favouring their mates, the mates race sort of thing. And they all agree with each other and stuff like that. It is an absolute disgrace, to be honest with you. And the way this football club is going, guys, absolutely. But, I find it astonishing that people like Gary Neville, who are ruining their legacy day by day, let me tell you that right now, and as a Man United fan who's 40 years, who's seen Gary Neville play, you are ruining your legacy, Gary. You are. And if not, you've already ruined it. I would say that to him right now, guys, because at the end of the day, the maliciousness and the malicious attacks, the unwarranted attacks on the manager were absolutely classless. Gary Neville is a very arrogant chap. I find him very, very arrogant. He's full of himself. Of course, he's been a very successful businessman. You would be if you were given tens and tens of thousands and not hundreds of thousands of pounds contracts to invest in your businesses. It's very easy as a player. You were given that career. Beckham helped your career immensely. And Man United fans supported you. Unfortunately, you are on this sabotage mission at Man United, and I would tell him that you don't want Man United to see, and that goes with Nicky Butt, that goes with Paul Scholes, sitting there with a Leeds United fan on that program on Sky, slandering Ruben Amorim. And the thing is that we're not going to move forward because at the end of the day, let me tell you something about this. It's not about Ruben Amorim. It's about the next manager who comes in, right? The same things are going to happen, guys. Let me just tell you that the same things are going to happen that happened with Ruben Amorim. And the same things are going to happen is that they're going to chuck that manager under the bus at any given moment. And then we're going to be here again, guys, talking about them. And they're like, it's slandering. At the end of the day, you can have your opinion. Media pit folk, they need their opinions. They have opinions. That's natural. That's meant to happen. That's always happened since the beginning of time. But what I would say is that every single one of their opinion was a negative one. Even when we beat Liverpool, even when we beat Newcastle and Chelsea and Crystal Palace and teams like that, it was always a negative spin on it, if you know what I mean. Whether that was formation, whether that was players not playing, team selection, there was always a negative spin on things and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And this DNA thing that keeps getting thrown out there, which they know nothing about, by the way, because I've already spoke about that with the amount of young players Man United have brought through after the Busby Babes up until pre class of '92, and you'll get a very, very big reality check in regards to how many players Man United have brought through from the academy and made them into elite players. You'll get a big reality check. In fact, it's only 14. The whole thing. And those 14 players, not all of them became elite. Many of them fell off. And that's what I'm talking about. Look, we've had two great youthful teams, which is the Busby Babes and obviously the class of '92. And that is it. That's it, guys. Man United are heritage. In regards to heritage, we're not a team that can talk about, we always brought through youth. We've always done that. We've always played forward in the back, which is an absolute myth, guys. Let me tell you that right now. From the late 60s, 70s, and 80s, we did not. All right. And let's get this, clarify this, and let's get this very, very clear, guys. Yes, we brought one player in there, guy there. But again, during that period, the biggest problem that Man United had was bringing through young players too early. That was the problem. And a lot of those young players could not bear the burden of Manchester United trying to bring Man United back to the top. It's a duplicate of what's going on now. Players coming through, trying to bring Man United to the top, trying too hard to impress, and then they fall off. And that's what's happening at the moment at Man United. It's like a little bit of history repeated. It's exactly what that is at the end of the day. Wrexham knocked out Forest. Yes, they did. Played very well as well on penalties. Wasn't it 3-3? Let's forget about attacks. Midfield is the problem. We have to Team United, absolutely. Sean Dyche is another hipster manager. Imagine we got him. Look, people don't understand about these Sean Dyches of this world and that. They talk a good game, but when it gets to actually managing their football teams, they're shit. And that's it. You remember when Sean Dyche went on the overlap and said he could manage Man United? He could do this for Man United. He could do that for Man United. Guys, listen, honestly, these guys talk a good game and people fall for their manipulation. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? You got Gary Neville and there's down in there nodding their heads like that. Do you know what I mean? And look, Sean Dyche is an average manager. He's a League One Championship manager, lower Premier League manager if he's lucky, and that is about it. And Nottingham Forest made a big mistake, of course, guys, sacking Nuno Santos, as I said, many months ago. Before they got Ange Postecoglou in the team, of course, guys, is a very, very poor, not a poor manager, I would just say average. He's a guy that would just get average results, you know what I mean, with the odd bad result. Good morning, Sal. We need a proper centre mid who can dictate play, pace of the game. At the moment, we are giving the ball away too much because we want to attack with every chance. It's true, Vaughan. One thing about Man United is that, yes, we are trying to rush things a little bit. We ain't got the build-up play. However, Man United was starting to get that under Ruben Amorim, and we were dominating play. You could tell by the way Man United were pressing. We just needed better quality in midfield, and that hasn't changed. Against Aston Villa, who are a great team, Man United dominated the game. Should have won. We were unlucky, bad defending. We lost 2 goals, but that happens. But we were dominating the game. Against, obviously, Leeds United, we dominated the game. And we were starting to get that. But obviously, we needed quality. We didn't have quality in that midfield. And if you don't have quality in that midfield, you know that more times than not, you're not going to succeed. The midfield is the engine of the team. Take away Paul Scholes and Roy Keane out of the team, you know what happens. Check out 1998, 1999, when we lost Roy Keane and we lost Paul Scholes because of suspension. Look at the balance of the team. Bayern Munich should have been 3-0 up. You know what I mean? This is what we're talking about. We lost the balance of the team. We ended up playing Beckham in the middle. We ended up playing Giggs on the right, Blomqvist on the left. And it was just not there, wasn't it? Because Giggs is left, and we know Giggs is left. He's the king of left winger. You know what I mean? Then we played him on the right, and then obviously had Beckham in midfield. Beckham can play midfield, but you miss out on his crosses and his assisting and things like that, especially in that season. And that's what we're talking about, balance of the team. And Man United's balance is not there, but they were still generally dominating games with a Leeds United team that has 8 games unbeaten. Wouldn't mind a Deadpool owner of Sal. He's a good guy, mate. I mean, obviously Ryan Reynolds. Obviously, people are going to throw it in the Hollywood thing, and stuff like that. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, a very, very good manager, managing director or owner of a football club. Fantastic, done wonders at Wrexham. And to be honest with you, we've got a bunch of greasy glazers, we got a bunch of goblins, at the end of the day. I'd rather have a Hollywood owner who cares about the football club, who's there in Wrexham, in Wales, on an evening, on a Friday night, freezing cold, supporting Wrexham, his team that he purchased. That's Ryan Reynolds, guys, that Hollywood actor, and he's there, on a Friday night in Wales, watching Wrexham defeat Nottingham Forest. And that's what we're talking about. And he weren't only there. He was on the edge of the pitch when the players were coming out, slapping hands with every single player. That's what you do. Our goblins in charge of Man United, you never see them. They're sitting there in Miami eating and, whatever they're doing. God knows what they're doing. They look very, very wrong. They look like right wrong'uns to me, in my opinion. But, yeah, look, we're not blessed with that. I tell you, our ownership we probably got the worst couple of owners in the world. I would say that. I would say pound for pound, Man United have the worst owners in the world. I would say that for what we are, for what we earn, for what we spend. We have the worst owners in the world, and that goes to Jim Ratcliffe and obviously the Glazers. Roy Keane is spot on. The formation is not the problem. I've been saying that for a long time. Formation was never the problem, and that proved it against Burnley. We played normal. We played the way we played all season against Burnley, against the worst team probably pound for pound in the league. Burnley don't have any great players like Wolves, so I would say that Burnley are not as good as Wolves even. So what I would say is that, yeah, look, you know what? The formation was never the problem. The tactics was never a problem. I don't know how many times I said it on this channel, how many times people kept coming at me with the 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. It's not the problem. It doesn't matter. And that will be proven, guys. It will be proven. And we will be proven right again. And I guarantee none of those tacticos people will come on to me and say, Sal, you were right, Only a few people will, but they won't, honestly. What I've said about the formation, the tactics is just a stick to beat Ruben Amorim with. That's all it was, and they don't know nothing about tactics and IQ in regards to football and XG and stuff like that. So they just, the funny thing is, right, is that, as I said at the beginning of the show, we've been gaslighted into standards for the last year and that by these low IQ football folk. And, the funny thing is that they were celebrating a draw against Burnley. There you go, guys. Hypocrites. Hypocrisy is a very big thing at the end of the day. We have to win, no excuses. Absolutely, Kenny. I'm not bringing this. It's a dictatorship now. I've realized that Man United is a dictatorship. So look, guys, we need to win this game. I don't want any excuses, guys. I don't want anyone giving me any excuses about anything like that. No way. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Our problem is money. Just can't flex like City to solve our issues. Amman needed a decent midfield. Our problem is money because the Ineos have got money, but they don't want to spend it, Rajat, my friend. They don't want to spend it. I've said this from the beginning. They've got money. Where did they find 27 million for sacking Ruben Amorim? You see what I mean? When they need to find money to suit their own narrative, they will find money. And that's the thing I've been talking about Ineos for a long time. When people were telling me they can't sack Ten Hag because they can't find the money to sack Ten Hag, they found the money, didn't they? They got money, mate. You got the richest guy in Britain. You know how rich Britain is? They got the richest guy in Britain. Right, owning Man United, right? And this guy ain't got no money. Come on, man. This guy could burn money. The fact is, he's certain billionaires out there don't like spending money. And that's it. It's as simple as that. There's a difference between a billionaire in England and a billionaire in the Middle East. For example, the Middle East, they don't worship money. Religion-wise, all that, they're not allowed to worship money. Money's just money. And that's it. And they'll just spend it. Whatever. Money comes, money goes. Doesn't really matter. We leave here with nothing. And that's the mentality. With Jim, it's like, I'm going to live forever. That's what he's got playing over and over again in his head. And you know what? Wants to keep every single penny. Now, if Jim Ratcliffe was Manc born and bred, I don't doubt he's born in Manchester, but he certainly wasn't a Man United fan, as people were preaching. And he's already lied a number of times about other things, not least Sheikh Jassim Hamid doesn't exist, which he does, which has been proven over this year. And I'm surprised he's been brushed under the carpet as well. No apology from Jim Ratcliffe, by the way. They are liars, mate. And they became billionaires because they are liars. They lied their way to the top. There's certain people that become billionaires in all different sorts of ways, whether it's oil, whether it's manipulating and lying and making cutbacks and fraud in it, or selling your soul, whatever it is, guys. There are many people that become billionaires and millionaires. You know what I mean? And Jim Ratcliffe is not a good one. You know, he's not a good one. He's a manipulator, a liar. And you know what? Man United needed full sale. And I'm so happy now. It's been proven. It's been proven. We are standing here with our heads and our chin held high because we said it at the beginning before they came into the football club. It was a big, big, big mistake to get Ineos at this football club. And here we are. And I was gaslighted into other people trying to gaslight me into thinking that Jim Ratcliffe was right and I was wrong. Yeah, I had people tweeting me saying, no, you're going to apologize to Jim Ratcliffe. I said, why am I going to apologize to Jim for? What are we apologizing for here? What? You know, and here we are, lo and behold, that you got manipulated. You know, these children, these petulant little children, weak, gullible little kids. That's what they are. Why must we win? Based on what? History? Based on qualifying for Europe, Anthony. That's why we need to win. Man United might not get in the top 5, top 6. So Man United need a rope to fall on. Man United must win against Brighton. Let's not try and gaslight us into thinking we can't beat Brighton now. Amram beat Brighton 4-2. So let's hope that we do beat Brighton, guys. And look, why mustn't we win? We're Manchester fucking United, mate. That's why we win. You know what I mean? That's why we win. I don't want to hear anything. Why must we win? Why must we win, mate? Yeah, mad. Yes, we don't need another Oni Palmer. Not at the moment. Exactly that. Exactly that. Bernard, exactly that. You said it. Jason Walker. And also the fact that, look, I'm not going to be gaslighted into thinking that this game is not important. I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there to try and get defensive, to try and say that this game is not important. It's very important, guys. It's very important that we beat this, we win, we challenge an FA Cup and have a good FA Cup run. You know what I mean? I don't want to be hearing anything. I don't be hearing any pre-excuses. The little masala put in there, the little plant of the seed and stuff like that. I don't be hearing none of that. Jason Walker should leave. Incompetent. Absolutely, Vaughan. Absolutely. Come on, Egypt. Big up, Kenny. Guys, feels weird supporting them because of Salah and Mamouche, but need Amram back. But I'll say for Brighton, yeah, we need to win. Like Brighton need to win. We need to win as well. Exactly that. You just contradicted yourself, Anthony. Yes, we need to win. So did Brighton. We must win. So did Brighton. But we should win. Come on, Egypt, free Ahmad. Big up, guys. What about the feelings of the population of Ivory Coast? What about Ivory Coast, mate? I don't think that what my opinion affects the feelings of the Ivory Coast nation. I'm not the president of the Ivory Coast. I said, I hope that Ivory Coast lose so that Ahmed comes home. If they win, fair play to them. I don't think I'm going to upset the entire population with Sal from Stretford Post, you know, saying that I hope that Ivory Coast lose so Ahmed can come back to Man United. I don't think I'm that powerful, guys. Not yet. But I don't think I'm that powerful to upset an entire nation that Man United, that Ivory Coast should lose so Ahmed comes back. That's a footballing opinion, mate. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Guys, come on. What are we here for? You know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's a footballing opinion. And I prefer Egypt to win. So Ivory Coast, you know, bring back Ahmad for Man United's own selfish reasons, of course. And look, would you rather Salah go back to Liverpool or would you rather Ahmad come back to Man United? Salah going back to Liverpool is going to improve Liverpool. Liverpool are competing with us for Europe and the Champions League. Man United need as many players as we could possibly muster at the moment, especially in this crazy time when we're going to have a new manager, an interim manager, and things like that, of course. Mainu, Ugarte in play, Bruno in the 10-3, and Bremo. I think they will. I think they will play a 4-2-3-1. I think it will be that. And then you can work it. Hello, Rajat. How you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. Sal, how many midfielders do you think we need? 2, 3, probably at least. Sal, Roy Keane said that Alex still hanging around like a bad smell, and some even agree. What do you think of that comment? I understand what he meant. I absolutely understand what he means. I don't agree with the tone of it, but I understand what he meant. Like, I don't mind Alex Ferguson hanging around. I don't. He's a legend. You know what I mean? He's the biggest, one of the biggest, along with Sir Matt Busby and all that in that bracket, right? However, he is very opinionated, and obviously, his view on managers, I would not take now for me. Because obviously he's talking about getting this manager and getting that manager, and that he's the reason behind David Moyes. We can't forget that. Do you know what I mean? And look, having Alex Ferguson around is fine. We need Alex Ferguson is a legend and he should be at Man United whenever he wants. You know what I mean? We are talking about Man United right now. We have this platform right now, this community right now because of Sir Alex Ferguson. And that should never be forgotten. And that's with every single person who does this, right? Because of Sir Alex Ferguson. One of the big reasons, obviously, Matt Busby as well and all these people, we always have to pay homage and we always have to pay respect to these greats. However, what I would say is that the bad smell thing's a little bit harsh. I would say that, look, we shouldn't be taking his opinion now as the gospel, as something that we must do because Alex Ferguson said we do it. Alex Ferguson said Carrick's going to be a great manager, so let's do it. You know what I mean? And things like that. Do you know? Like, right now, what I would say, in my opinion, if we're not going to get a big manager now, if we're not going to get an interim now, just keep Fletcher. For me, keep Fletcher because I just think something different. I would love Roy Keane, but Roy Keane confirmed it yesterday. And this is one thing I would say, guys, about this Alex Ferguson thing, Irene. Roy Keane said on that TV channel that they asked him, are you expecting a phone call? He goes, no, I'm not expecting a phone call. The reason he's not expecting a phone call is because he doesn't get on with Alex Ferguson. Now, I don't think that should be the reason he doesn't get a Man United job. I've said for a long time that Roy Keane should be at Man United in whatever capacity, whether it's a coach, whether it's a manager. Roy Keane should be at Man United, just like Eric Cantona, but he doesn't get on with Alex Ferguson, so he's not going to be offered that opportunity. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong because at the end of the day, this is competitive sport. Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole never got on. What did they do? They won a treble. At the end of the day, it's not about getting on. You don't get on with everyone you work with. That's life. Sometimes you don't get on with your boss. That's life. You know, at the end of the day, but you don't sabotage the future of Man United or the best option for Man United just because of, you know what, I don't get on with him, so why are you picking him, sort of thing. You know what I mean? I don't think this should be held as like a gospel and stuff like that. Absolutely. Did Baleba performance for a potential Baleba value? No, Rajat, he didn't perform well. But I would say that Cameroon didn't perform well in general. I was very disappointed with Cameroon yesterday. As I said, when they came out on they had the wrong mentality, had a victim mentality when they came on the pitch, which you shouldn't do in football. You don't come out lost with a loser kind of, how would I say it, a negative vibe. They came out with a negative vibe. They didn't come out with a vibe that we're going to win this game. Come on, lads. You know what I mean? It was a negative vibe that the world is against us. And, the referees are fraud. And every single moment they had to jump up and scream, they were doing that. And I was disappointed with Cam yesterday. One of my favourite teams in the AFCON, of course. However, it's good for Man United, you know. Anthony Ahmed won't start. He will start in a 4-3-3, but he'll be rotated because obviously we've got Bruno, we've got Bremo, we've got Cunha now. Obviously, we've got Shea Lacey coming through, Ahmad as well now. So obviously, it's good for Man United that we've got an array of talent, you know. But again, someone's going to hug the bench. And that's this is where you separate the woods from the trees, isn't it, guys? Someone's going to hug the bench. Someone's going to be on the bench. Someone's going to be, you know what, upset. Someone's going to be disgruntled. Someone's going to be moaning. That's exactly what it is at the end of the day, guys. You know, this is the way it is. It's the way the formation works, isn't it? Morning, my friend Mark. How you doing? Good to see you. Morning, legends. Hope you're well. Cameron Neil, Morocco too. It's good to have Mbeumo back, but Mazuri is a versatile beast. Absolutely, we are really missing talents. What do you make, Mark? What do you make of Mbeumo? Mbeumo did not play well yesterday. In fact, what I would say about Mbeumo, tell a lie, he played well for the last 10 minutes, 5 minutes. He played very well. I saw Mbeumo really running really fast. And I thought, what's going on with Mbeumo? New lease of life. He's got to play like that all the time from minute one. Mbeumo, urgency. One of the key words about football, playing football, urgency. Sometimes go on the pitch like you're losing. Go on the pitch like you're losing 1-0. That's how you should frame your mind. We're losing 1-0, right? Urgency. Go for it. And I think that's what I was disappointed most about Cameroon yesterday. They didn't really go for it early on. 1,000% Gary Neville's ruined his legacy. Has a grade A wanker and he's worked very hard to get there. Yeah, he's a horrible person, mate. I don't like him at all. Arrogant, obnoxious, implosive, lack of empathy, everything that you know what, he's had too much smoke blown up his backside for too long. You know what I mean? I'm tired of him. Raja, yeah, they're meant to support the manager also together. Also, whether it was Ruben, Tuchel, Conte, regardless, still need 2 quality midfielders and maybe even 1 stopgap centre midfielder and Neves Gallagher. Yeah, and maybe some wing backs, you know what I mean, and wingers or fullbacks, whatever you want to call it. and a backup striker. There was many things that didn't get fixed at Man United. This is why the insanity of sacking Ruben Amorim will be proven in time. And none of them minions are going to come back and say, look, Sal, you're right. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Scott, will Mbeumo be back for the Brighton game? No, he won't be back. He's back for the Man City game, not the Brighton game. He's back on the 17th. He's not match fit. He's not been in training. No, he's match fit, but he's not been in training for Man United tactically and stuff like that. Sal, spot on. Gary Neville has become an Ineos puppet. Yep, absolutely. Guys, absolutely. Was hoping to a quick turnaround from Mbeumo come back. Yeah, was hoping. No, he hasn't even been in training. Wait, Wrexham Division 2 or 3? There's no such thing as Division 2 or 3. It's League 1, League 2. There's no Division 3 anymore, mate. That's old days. I believe they're in League 1, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or they're League 1, I think. Or they might be Championship. No, they're Championship now. I'll tell a lie, I think. No, bro. No, Sal, bro. These guys won't be good. Costa Coffee's owner of Costa Coffee. Big up, my friend. It's great to see represent your country, but should all our players have stayed because of the trouble we are in? Yeah, that would have been nice. We tried to make it happen. Ruben Amorim tried to make it happen, but obviously we tried to keep prolong their stay at Man United, but obviously FIFA rejected it. It's unfortunate for the teams that have their players leaving, but one thing I will say, Mark, is that Ineos and the Glazers, they knew about this at the beginning of the season. AFCON has always been like this. And we can't use that excuse. They should have prepared for it. Ineos should have prepared for it. They should have helped the manager. They should have understood that we've got the AFCON coming. If so, they should. But if they didn't want that, they should not have purchased Mbeumo. Should have purchased the midfield or purchased someone else. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so they didn't plan for that. I actually think they forgot about it. That's how stupid they are and how incompetent they are. And they didn't plan for this. That we're going to miss him half of our team. And it's particularly Mazraoui, Ahmad and Mbeumo, which have been potent for Man United this year so far. Renee, so Sal, as for clubs building their senior team around players from the academy, would you consider Ajax and Barca superior to us in that respect? Yes. And I'll tell you why they're superior. Not Ajax so much anymore. Barca definitely, because Barca play a certain way from the youth all the way up. So basically, they play a youth team from the La Masia, from the young kids from about 10 years old, all the way up to 19. They play the same way. So when you bring through a player at Barcelona, they slot right into the team. Whereas Man United, for example, let's say Ruben Amorim, who plays a 3-4-2-1, we won't have a 3-4-2-1 formation in the youth team. From the youth all the way up. And that's, you know what I mean? Now, what Man United need to do, they need to try and implement a style of football that goes from the top all the way down to the youth team. And that's what they need to do. It's something that we haven't done. This is why you get great players consistently coming through at Barcelona, Exactly. Raja, add Bayern, maybe City and Madrid Academy top 5. Man City the Man City. Yeah, lately Man City, because they're building. Big up Irfan, up you're well. FM, smash the like, subscribe, peeps. Exactly. Good. Guys, I'm livid. Why we don't take the World Cup away from USA? Horrible things happening. All those Qataris are quiet. And right, I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Sit. 100 million plus on hiring and sacking managers, not including their salaries. Exactly that. And the inside cost that we don't know nothing about, of course. And 1,000% Sal, where is the money used to sign up the transfers and not keep using it to sack managers? Am I getting dumbfounded? I'm getting dumbfounded. Raja, I mean, I can bring in a number of narratives here, mate. Where's the 4 billion that Jim Ratcliffe was going to buy Chelsea with? What happened to that old chestnut? What happened to that money? He was going to buy Chelsea for 4 billion. Where did that go? It's amazing, isn't it, how billionaires manage to make money disappear? I mean, at the end of the day, look, keep telling people that we're broke. Subconsciously, it's going to get into the minions' head and they're going to think, oh, we're broke. We can't afford any players. It's ridiculous and people fall for that stuff. Guys, wake up. Billionaires are liars. That's how they became billionaires. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're liars and they're manipulators. They don't like to spend money. They worship money. They probably have a shrine in their home with money over it. And you know what I mean? And the money god or whatever they're worshipping and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Rasta, Qatari should have bought us, but the scum, we're never going to... They should have bought us, but they were blocked, Rasta. Yeah, like United got the third richest owner in the league, which Jim. You combine that with the Glazers, we are second richest owners. If they did spend the money at the club, we would get everyone, but they won't, mate. That's the thing. And there's a difference between being money rich and asset rich. There's a difference between that. You could be money rich, have loads and loads and loads of money, or you can have assets that are worth money. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you got money. That's the thing. For example, Qatar are money rich. They got money. They could just splash money out. You know what I mean? And when you're thinking about Qatar, they could do all the tax things and stuff like that. When you're thinking about Ineos and the Glazers, they're more, the thing with the Glazers, it's also about mentality as well. The thing with the Glazers and Ineos is that they worship money. They love money. They don't want to even spend money. They're the sort of people, right, that will walk into a KFC and not offer to pay. They're that sort of people, even though you're billionaires. You could be broke and you go in the KFC with them. Not that they were walking KFC, but they're going KFC and they say, oh, I'm a bit broke. Oh, you're broke. You've got no money. And they won't even offer to pay. They're them sort of people. Garrett, big up, Sal. Looks like we're not getting any players in the window. If not, it's a disgrace, as it already is a disgrace. You know, guys. Newcastle owners got almost $1 trillion. City owners got 30 billion. Arsenal United got 1 billion. The Glazers got around 5 billion each, and they do not spend anything on the club. It's frustrating. They need to leave. We know. I know. Absolutely. My main concern, Sal, is what Sir Jim Rat's succession plan is. If he may have serious implications. All these companies are in serious debt. United. It'd be what I would say in my prediction. It would be passed down to his siblings, which is not good, just like the Glazers, isn't it? Garrett, we need to win this cup, Sal. Yes, we do. It is like, quote, if you think everybody else is in a hole, then maybe Ineos are in Ineos are not the guys from Man United. We said that. Raise up Manchester United fans. Ineos and Glazers' leadership structure are destroying Manchester United. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. Jale, we know the story of Roy Keane and Sir Alex. They do not like each other. King still got grapes from what it says. Yeah, so it doesn't mean that you sabotage the future of Man United. He's still a legend at Man United and should still be given an opportunity. You don't take away opportunity, you know, from a player just because they don't get on with someone. Like I said, Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham hated each other. They still played with each other in the treble-winning season, and they contributed. Ranjit, 100% Keane should be in some role for me as a manager would be fantastic. It'd be exciting, wouldn't it? It would get, you know what it would do, Ranjit? It would give the fans a boost, wouldn't it? Give the fans a little bit of a lift, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Would they move Bruno back into midfield? Cunha? No, because he's not a good midfielder, and that's it. Hopefully not. Sal, where is the best position for Cunha? Left of the three, or left wing? Irfan, I love Lacer. I think he's more of a United product than Ahmad. Just my opinion. It's not a bad opinion. And I see people crying over we should start Lacer or Ahmad. I mean, talk about Ahmad, you get in trouble these days, mate. I mean, that's what happens. They need to play AFCON at some same as the World Cup. I mean, it's whether fitting in is where you're going to fit in, isn't it? At the end of the day. But I would say this, guys. I would like to reiterate and I would like to clarify. Okay, I've enjoyed the AFCON. I enjoy it, and I think it's a very good tournament, fantastic tournament. This goes with the National League, which is pointless. This goes with the European qualifiers. This goes with the World Cup qualifiers. There's a lot of international games here. And I put that across the spectrum in regards to every single international tournament, the Copa America, all this business. You know, there are too many international games, in my opinion. FIFA sold their soul. You could see that during the World Cup draw. They also live on the Orange Towers. You have to sell your soul to get to a certain level, guys. There's a little insider. Now, the Fletcher is in. I want to see Kone take up mids in place of Cass. We'll have to wait and see. Cash, we never know. You never know what the future brings. Mandem, what's going on, my friend? I've noticed that most of the people that come out to say outrageous things here are the Alice talk shy minions that glaze her. Yeah. Are they? Really, I didn't know that, Mandem. I didn't really know that, but probably, yeah, probably. Obviously, people don't like me. Follow the idiots. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, with no ball knowledge. At the end of the day, guys, at the end of the day, guys, what I would say is that don't worry, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. This channel is growing. This channel will continue to grow. I'm not going to stop for anyone. I have got big plans for this channel, and you know what? You can grasp on or you can let go. It's up to you, man. You know what I mean? We will grow. Raja, Karbasi off to FC Barca Academy looks like a good beast. Another great product from Barcelona, of course, they do produce great players, of course. That's what they're all about through history. Guys, 3-4-3 allowed the two. I hate seeing that word 3-4-3. It's a 3-4-2-1 as well, but I hate seeing that, because I've had that so many times over the last few months. I've answered it, in different ways. As many different ways as possible. I've answered the same question. Amram sacking is a disgrace. Did it to avoid buying players in this window. Hope you find a great comment, Ranjit. Spot on, Ranjit. You're a legend, mate. Great comment. Keep being you and keep spitting the gospel, my friend. Well done. Raja, what about African teams that qualified to the World Cup? What about them? What's going on with them? What's going on with them? Look, at the end of the day, I'm enjoying the AFCON. I'm doing the AFCON tonight, of course. I will be doing a watch-along for the AFCON. I will be doing that and enjoying it, of course, like that. I do want Ivory Coast to lose. Obviously, I want Ahmad back. But if Ivory Coast go through, fair play to Ivory Coast. I'm wishing the best of luck. It's not that deep. But what I would say is that I hope for a good game tonight between Egypt and Ivory Coast. It is a very, very big game. Of course, Ivory Coast are technically favourites. They are the African champions, and obviously Egypt are the record holders for the African nations as well. So obviously, there we go. Viral. We should forget the Sarah's era and should focus on a new era. Wise and won't win anything. The thing is that what it is that, let me just tell you this, right? We shouldn't forget our history and heritage. That's who we are. Never forget our history and heritage. What we are is where we came from. Why I'm here now is because we had that, right? That is a fact. You're here, whether from India, whether from Africa, whatever, you would not know who Man United are without Sir Alex, without Sir Matt Busby. We don't forget it. But what I would say is that if we're trying to compare and talk about standards and DNA of that of Man United, you know what one of the biggest DNAs of Man United was? Loyalty. What made Man United successful? Backing and persistence and not sacking your manager after 18 months. Alex Ferguson became good because he was given 6 years. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about. If we want to talk about the Alex Ferguson time, why don't we implement every single aspect of the Alex Ferguson time? Why don't we talk about the bad times of Alex Ferguson time? Why don't we talk about when he initially came into the football club, he had to change the drinking culture at Manchester United, had to remove a few fan favourites, Paul McGrath, Gordon Strachan, had to do that throughout his career. Now, why don't they talk about having to remove Steve Bruce, having to move Beckham and Stam and players like they don't talk about these things, innit? That about Alex Ferguson, they talk about just one thing, success. It's about the whole package here, guys. If you're going to go off that, you have to follow the whole what he did from the beginning all the way to the end. At the beginning, he was not successful. We won our first trophy in 1990, 4 years after his first appearance at Man United. Carnav, they're saying, yeah, obviously, yeah. They play for the World Cup. We should take the FA Cup game seriously since this is the only hope that we are work. If we don't get into Europe, it's going to be extremely important, just like Eric Ten Hag would say, to get into the Europa League. It's not the Champions League. I believe Man United should be in the Champions League, and I believe Ruben Amorim would have qualified for the Champions League. I believe Ruben Amorim would have qualified for the Champions League, not Europa League. He would have got Champions League. Let me tell you that right now. And if we don't qualify for the Champions League, don't let those dem minions and all those idiots out there wanting Ruben Amorim out saying that, we wouldn't have got Champions League anyway. Trust me, we would have. We would have made it. Raja, if it's our only way to qualify for Europa League, go full throttle. Man United just Europa League, we would have got Champions League with Ruben Amorim. I'm telling you right now, it's just we wasted an opportunity. These people thought they knew better, and you know what? They're throwing their rattles at the pram at the moment because we drew to Burnley, and they've been shown up that it wasn't the formation and wasn't the tactics. The 4-3-3, the 4-2-3-1 brigade have gone awfully quiet. It's the ideal. It's the only place, Rajat. It's where we made our name. We're the pioneers of English football in the Champions League, European Cup, 1968. The only team. Why do you think Man United sacrificed in 1958 themselves in the Munich air disaster? Because they were playing in Europe, and England, the Premier League, the FA, not the Premier League, the FA, wanted Man United to come back ASAP to play the game. I think it was against Southampton. I might be wrong. Otherwise, we'll get a points deduction. That's why we were forced to go on that slippery runway in 1958 when that terrible tragedy occurred, right? Because we believed in European football and we believed in the Champions League, which is the European Cup back then. And we still, even after that, became the first English team to win a European Cup 10 years later. right? So Man United should always be in it. Sal, do you think we over? Yes, we do sometimes. Yeah, we do. We do, yeah. Because we have this myth in our head of Beckham, Scholes, Giggs, and all that. The problem is that people prefer positive vibes over trophies, as it's for egos, apparently. As much as I supported Ole when he was manager, he did the time, but we still prefer him over Fletcher. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer became very, very toxic in the end, Bernard. I remember people booing him. I remember us losing 5-0 to Liverpool at home. I remember us losing 6-1 to Spurs. I remember us losing 4-0 to Everton, 4-1 to Watford. I remember all those games very, very well. And I remember how toxic it got. He has a few sound bites. He has a few moments in his managerial path that, for me, were great games. The PSG game, for example. But there's no point winning against PSG and doing all that when you get absolutely slapped up against Barcelona in the new camp. He's a good vibes guy. Maybe great to have around the football club. But as a manager, I don't think he's got that. He's not it. What I would like you to do, put managers, the greatest managers of all time, in a line, in a queue, and look at them and analyze them and see what their characteristics are. They're very similar. And Ole is he's like a guy who's been given an opportunity, who's won the lottery. He comes across that sort of guy. And we don't need that sort of guy. We need someone as much as I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a player. I said it at the beginning when he was managing Man United. I'm not going to flip-flop from this. He's just not tactically astute, and disciplinary-wise, he doesn't do discipline. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the sort of person you could sit down in an office and you can twang him. You can persuade him to do whatever you want. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I need tomorrow off. Can I have tomorrow off, Ole? Oh, but we got to play Liverpool tomorrow. I know, but I've got a birthday to attend. He will say yes. He's that sort of guy. Do you know what I mean? 50 likes, Sal. Big up, everyone. Thank you so much. Big up. Sal, Sal, the FA Cup is so good for you. I see another team win it, except for Newton. Tottenham, I think, it might be Liverpool, Man City, someone, Chelsea, someone like that. You've got to have luck to win the FA Cup. I'm not happy about him, to be honest, mate, because he's injured. At the end of the day, we don't need him. No, not really. He's not that good, Beef Buddy. Hasn't really set the world alight at West Brom. He's an average player. Good morning, Sal. How's things with your thoughts on this disaster? Wesley, what disaster? There's no disaster, mate. It's not a disaster. It's a footballing channel. There's no disasters here, mate. Far more important things going on in the world. Let me tell you that right now. Yeah, look, Collier's not good enough for Man United. No. Not in my opinion. Big up, everyone. Nice, great live days there. Tottenham watch along versus Villa. I played up by way. I'm trying to organize my time and stuff like that. Big up yourself, Rajat. Thank you for joining me. Keep your notifications on. In your opinion, who is the best team in the world, manager, tactician? The best team in the world? There is none. They're all shit. Sorry. That's it. I think the best manager in the world at the moment is Luis Enrique. I've said that from the beginning. I think he will be a very good manager for Man United. I think he will. I think he's the best manager in the world at the moment. I think he's going to be better than Pep. I do, honestly. It's not a disaster. Events, I would say. You know my thoughts, Wesley. I've been speaking about it for a few days. You know what I think about it. It's a disgrace, What has happened at Man United is an absolute, how would I say it, typifies what we are. An absolute joke, guys. We're an absolute joke. We're an absolute clownery of a football club, and you can't call out your owners, tell your owners to do their job, and then you get sacked for it. When you're asking them for players, when you've lost players at the AFCON and you've got injuries, wow. I mean, that goes to show you everything, how thick-skinned these people are, isn't it? And it is an absolute joke. We're a mockery, and until they start listening to people like me and other people, then they're going to keep going on with this repetitive cycle of lack of success and underachievement, and that's what I would say. Don't know what that's about, of course. Beef, will there be anyone? When I say no, I say they have to, and that's all I say. There's no excuses. They have to. If they don't, then you know what I mean. Everyone can just. It's already been clarified what they're about, isn't it? Wesley, I think we wouldn't be. You think we wouldn't be, mate? Man United will be in a very, very powerful position. The reason Man United would be in a very, very powerful position if we had Qatar is because we already make money now, even though we're $1 billion in debt. Qatar would have came in, cleared the debt, got rid of the bad players, brought in good players, and run the club like a proper football club. You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, and you know what happened is that Man United make their own money organically. They make their own money organically. We make, without a bidding owner. Now, imagine we had no debt. Imagine the PSR and FFP. That would have went through the roof. Man United could have got whoever they wanted to get. No matter who it is, they would have got whatever player they wanted. All right? We would have been in a far, far greater position right now. Man United, the reason they didn't want Qatar to take over Man United was nothing to do with human rights and all that malarkey that they know nothing about. It was because it would have brought Man United back and it would have made Man United a scary beast that would dominate football for a very, very long time. Now, some of the idiotic, sinister bigots out there wanted Ineos, right? And they've got their wish, and they are so far and being proven very, very stupid, and that's it. There we go. Big up, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words. That's really kind of you. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, please don't forget to smash a like. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Legends like that make it worthwhile. Thank you so much. Gainey, was it Janie? Gainey, big up yourself. 8195. Big up yourself. Wesley, Fletcher didn't do bad for his first game. We played well. It just scored the lucky goals of Fletcher. Fletcher did okay, mate. We drew to Burnley, mate, the worst team in the league. I don't want to hear about it, mate. Amram beat Burnley. Ole is a good coach. I hope he wins. Ole is not a good coach, mate. He's not a good coach. He's not a good coach, mate. Is he a good coach getting sacked at Besiktas, mate? He's not a good coach. Don't gaslight people thinking Ole is a good coach. He's a vibes guy. He's not a good coach. Get that right. He's not a good coach. He's a poor coach. That's why no one else wants him. Have a great day, Sal. Big up yourself, mate. Yeah, big up yourself. Big up everyone, guys, in the stream. Guys, God, me, that's the worst thing I've heard. Ole's a good coach. My goodness me. He's not even a good League One coach. Big up, everyone. Wesley, Sal, I was at work and I heard by a colleague, Amram was actually shot. Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's bad, This club is a joke. And he weren't sacked because of results or anything like that. We're 3 points from 4 players. Sacked because he called out the ownership and the board, which is a good thing for me. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. So, guys, we need to stop thinking that lowering our standards. Ole's not a good coach. Carrick's not a good coach. Carrick was sacked by Middlesbrough. We need to start thinking higher, guys. There's only a couple of managers out there that Man United need. One of them's Luis Enrique. Of course, guys, the other one's probably De Zerbi, someone of that ilk. They are good coaches. Just because someone goes, yeah, Carrick and this and that doesn't mean that they're good coaches. Carrick, Maguire, and all this crap doesn't mean they're good coaches. Just because they smile in press conferences doesn't mean they're good coaches. Losing 5-0 at home to Liverpool, 6-1 to Spurs, 4-0 to Everton, 4-1 to Watford. He's not a good coach. He isn't no serious coach, but he's at interim level. He's not even that, mate. He's an interim level up to about 4 months, and then you'll get the decline. You know what I mean? He should never be a Man United head coach. Man United need to be serious here. Would Real Madrid do the same thing? Ask yourself the question. Would Bayern do the same thing? Ask yourself the question. They wouldn't, would they? They wouldn't mess about. Raul manages in the youth team. You wouldn't see Raul on the touchline. That's what I would say. Absolutely. Guys, thank you guys for joining me. Guys, thank you. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Enrique will come if we offer him a chance to come. De Zerbi will give discipline, and he will be a disciplinarian, which we need. He's not my first choice. Enrique is my first choice. Enrique will come. He's already clarified that he will come to Man United, but needs to be backed, and that is down to the board. We can't just give up on Enrique. Now, when you think about Man United's team, as I said many, many times, we're not far away. The reason we're not far away is because we're a couple of midfielders away from challenging, and I've said that from the beginning. If we get Luis Enrique in charge with a new midfield, with the players we got at the moment, we'll do good. Trust me, we'll do good. If we get Ole in charge or Carrick in charge or Fletcher in charge with a new midfield, don't worry about it. We won't be going anywhere. Forget about it. Just don't even bother. You know what I mean? Guys, thank you for United. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to smash a like as well, guys. I will be back later on, of course, for the watch-alongs and stuff. Keep your notifications on in case I go before. Of course, guys, for any news breaking and stuff like that. I really appreciate everyone in the community. And don't forget, guys, to subscribe if you're new as well. Thank you so much. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn, and I'll see you later. Take it easy.